name is Roya Arlisa, and I am here at Coffee Smith in Itaewon. We are recording another episode for Black Asian Magazine, interviewing Lindsay Walker. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Lindsay, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Lindsay Walker. I'm originally from the East Coast of the United States, from Jersey, lived in Delaware. Before coming to Korea, I lived in New York. I went to NYU, and then I came here. My first time in Korea was at the end of 2008, right after Obama was elected. I was living in Harlem, so I got that. That was an amazing night when he was elected, to be in Harlem and have the first Black African-American president. So after that, I came to Korea, and I've been living here off and on since then. I was in Australia for a little bit, then and back in the States, and then I came back to Korea.
So how long have you been here?
So off and on since 2008, so that's like almost 13, 14 years. Well, but I can't count the time that I lived in Australia. So combined all together, probably like 11 years.
Wow, that's a really long time. And have you always lived in Seoul?
No, my first year here, I lived in Pyeongtaek.
Pyeongtaek,
yes,
okay.
The countryside. That's a story about how I lived there, because I assumed I was going to be living in Seoul. That's how I requested, coming from New York. My recruiter told me that, oh yeah, Pyeongtaek is a suburb of Seoul. And I was like, oh, so it's like Manhattan to Brooklyn? He was like, yeah, it's like Manhattan to Brooklyn. No, it wasn't. It's like Manhattan to JFK, Brooklyn, like an hour and a half on the subway. So I was like, yeah.
I mean, Pyeongtaek's definitely a city, but it's
much better now. Back then, when I got here, it was still the old train station that was one floor with squatting toilets. It was definitely the countryside of Korea.
Yeah.
Now it's better, but back then it was basically not. It was a very boring place. It wasn't like it is now.
Okay. So what do you do here?
So right now, I mostly, I'm married now. I have a different visa. I'm an F6, no longer E2. I came here as an English teacher, but about 5 years ago, 2017, I got married. Me and my husband have been together actually for 12 years, since 2010. But so we've been together for 12 years, but married for 5. So we've been traveling together and living here in Korea. Also, we lived in Australia, and then we came back to Korea because we got a job here, and then eventually I stopped teaching full-time and got married. So basically, I just do my side things. I volunteer. I have an online jewelry store through Etsy, and I sometimes teach classes and substitute.
So what initially brought you to Korea? Have you always had an interest in Asia?
No, I had no interest in coming to Asia at all. Actually, my major, Middle East, North Africa. My major was Middle Eastern Studies and Politics. And during university, I wanted to go to law school, and I was saving up money in New York City to go to law school, and then the recession hit, and it was just, the job I had was extremely depressing. I worked for a transfer agency on Wall Street, and basically I was calling shareholders to let them know that their bank was going under, and the board was recommending that they vote to merge with another bank, and so they lost a lot of money. So it was very depressing. I had guys next to me who had been laid off from Lehman Brothers, and they're back at the bottom where I'm starting at entry level, and I just like, F it, I want to get out of America right now. And so my friend had taught in China, but I went to go to the place where you can make the most money, and they're like, check out Korea. So I thought I was only going to be here for a year. But now I'm still in Korea.
Yeah, so you definitely have had a good experience. Do you enjoy your time here?
Yeah, I think Korea is much more easier to get around than and do things than America. I think coming from New York City, once again, they say if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. So Korea wasn't really that hard for me. I didn't really feel like there was a huge language barrier. Sometimes we were like, oh my gosh, they don't speak English, but I've been in places where they really don't speak English, or it's really different than Korea. I lived in Italy for a while during my undergrad. Most people don't speak English there. I've traveled, I've done like a summer experience in Egypt doing archaeology. People really don't speak English there in the countryside, because I was on a dig and I like mostly it's like a mix of English and Arabic I was speaking with them. And so to me, Korea wasn't really it wasn't a really hard adjustment for me. So
Yeah, I find it really convenient here. There's so many modern amenities that are very parallel to the U.S. Even when it comes down to food, you just see like chains and things that just look familiar.
It's much better
It's
because
nice.
even in Italy, it was hard to get Americanized food. Like
Yeah.
I think it's much easier here because I guess because there's the big bases and everything around to get. If you really want it, you can probably get it and find it here.
Yeah.
You just have to look for it. So.
And the internet here through Coupon, you can order anything. Anything you can think of.
The internet here is so good. People understand. I lived in Australia. The internet there was horrible, and I went from living in Korea to living in Australia.
Yeah.
And me and my husband came back. Well, we were still just dating then. We came back for his sister's wedding, and I was like, I came back to the future. Like I was like, and we lived in Sydney. The public transportation was horrible. The internet was horrible. It was like stuff shut down early. So coming from Korea going to Australia, I wasn't a big fan. Besides the beach, I wasn't a big fan of Australia.
I see.
Yeah.
I've never been there. So.
I mean, it's good for vacation.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to live there long term.
Okay. So we're here at Coffee Smith today because you're hosting a mental health coloring meetup.
Yes.
And that is through the Foreign and Immigrant Virtual Community Center. Can you talk a bit about that group?
Okay, so I started that group because due to COVID. Before pre-COVID, I kind of have a free schedule, so I was actually traveling outside the country a lot, like up to the point where I was probably leaving Korea every 2 months. I was actually going home to America twice a year for like 3 weeks at a time. So it's 2019, and actually I just got back from America, and I was talking to my friend Jessica because we used to take trips to China together to buy stuff, and we were planning to go to China in January right when I came back, and my mom was planning to come to Korea in March. I was going to go to Singapore with her, and
everything hit the fan.
It was like I was like, me and Jessica were talking like, oh yeah, we're gonna go. Like, should we go before Chinese New Year or after Chinese New Year? Let's go. And they're like, oh no, there's something going on in China. You can't go. There's a flu, and then that's when everything started shutting down. So I no longer could travel. It wasn't like as convenient to travel outside of Korea because I would have to quarantine coming back, and I don't want to do that. I'm not a person who can be stuck inside.
And that was for 2 weeks. I've actually done it twice. I glorified house arrest. It's awful.
It's awful. That's why people should know solitary confinement is torture.
It was torture for me. If I have to do it again, I'm just not doing whatever I'm supposed to do. Like, it's not going to happen.
No,
it was enough. Enough for me.
I can't do it. So I couldn't travel anymore, and I started being online some more on Facebook, and I started seeing like just little things like people, my hagwon shut down, I have no money, blah, 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 or I lost my job, I have no money. And my first thought is, if you don't have any money, then how are you buying food? If you're not eating, that just makes you can't focus, you can't concentrate. When I went to NYU, I taught at I was teacher's aide for America Reads, America Counts at a low-income school. And when kids are misbehaving or something's wrong, the first thing I would always ask is like, are you hungry or are you tired?
Yeah.
And like, if they're hungry and you feed them, it solves that problem. And so I was like, if you're hungry, you can't focus on anything else. You can't focus on trying to find another job. You can't focus on where you're trying to live. Like, you need to take care of that basic necessity first. So I was like, let me just put a call out for anyone who has any extra food. If you need food, come and we'll give it to you. Because when I eat, you eat. And I know there's people out there, I have extra food, I have some extra money. I can buy some fresh produce because that's important to get vitamins for people who need food in our community. So the first one I held a food drive at the Hidden Cellar in Haebongchong. Riza Kar, the owner, he's an awesome guy. He was like, Lindsay, yeah, you can use the space to collect food and I'll donate some food. And I was like, okay. And people came and they brought food. And I said, I'm even willing, I'll pay to ship food to people outside of Seoul. Or if there's women, of course, if you're pregnant or if you have kids, you can't get on the bus and come to this place. It costs that much money to travel. So I was like, give me your address. Only if people are really close, I go, you're close enough that you can come. to pick it up, or sometimes I'm like, I don't ship fresh meat because I'm afraid it might not get there or go bad. So I'm like, if you live close enough and you let me know, I can probably also get you fresh meat too as well if you're a meat eater. So the first food drive went well, and I was like, people are really donating food, and I just continued doing it. And people from the community reached out. They go, can I help out this way? So I create the group. So I was like, let me have a group where people, if they need help, they can actually come and ask for help, or they can say, I have this if someone needs it. Because I feel like Facebook can be kind of toxic sometimes, and I think people need a place that they felt safe where that they could be a part of a community. So we created a Google Doc. My friend Erin Jackson, put her name out there. You should also talk to her one day. She knows ins and outs of like lots of dealing with Korean bureaucracy, even though she doesn't speak Korean like really fluently. But she created the Google Doc, and people just fill it out. And we ask them, we let them know, this is all grassroots. All these donations are coming from the community. We're not a government organization or a nonprofit. This is all grassroots from people in the community, other immigrants giving to other immigrants. And I think it's very important. So she created that doc, and then people have created other things through the group. Last year, they did a drive for school supplies that Erin Jackson and Corey Hobb worked on in tangent with the Democrats Abroad, and they collected stuff for families who needed stuff for their school kids in the immigrant community. I've been trying to do, like, since COVID, I've been trying to do these mental health coloring meetups. Even if no one comes, I just want to be here and like, I'm here if you want to come and sit and color with me for 2 hours, because I feel like mental health is really important, especially during COVID, and that's going to be the major effect of COVID. There's going to be so many people who their mental health was affected so negatively by these 2 to 3 years of quarantine or staying inside and not being a part, not being to reach out and touch people. So I just want to be, not just me, but I want everyone to come together and create a stronger community and a stronger safety net for the immigrants in Korea, because there isn't really one. There's not a whole really great social safety net for Koreans in Korea, let alone the immigrants. Like, there's the whole thing where people were losing their jobs and there wasn't any money to help them out, and Korea wasn't giving assistance to immigrants even though they pay taxes here. And I just feel like our community can come together more and be a stronger, better community and help each other out. And for me, I want to do grassroots because I feel like no one wants to help because they think you have to be a huge hero to help. You have to do something really big. And it doesn't have to be something really big. If everyone helps out a little bit and we all come together, it becomes something big. It's not just one person. It's everyone doing small things and coming together to change and help each other out.
That's truly inspiring, and I think that's really wonderful what you're doing. It's really encouraging. How often do you do the food drive, actually?
It's like once a month, at the end of the month, at the Hidden Cellar. People can also drop off food in Pyeongtaek at JJ's Diner.
Yes.
It's owned by Jessica Fry. I think you guys interviewed her before. She has honey hair, JJ's Diner, and JJ's Lounge. She's also a great help. We've had food drives there as well. So that's also a drop-off point. But like I said, it's about us all coming together and doing whatever you can. No donation is too small. People sometimes ask me, like, well, I only have this. That's fine. Don't say you only. Just you giving is more than enough. Or I tell people, they're like, I don't have anything. I was like, just come out. Just come out and meet other people in the community. So there's a support system. And I'm trying to build in other cities and, like, trying to find people, like, we need to be able to reach out and contact each other and help each other and not be alone here. I don't understand, coming from New York where there's so many immigrants, why the immigrant community here isn't more connected and doesn't help each other out more.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Why do you think that happens?
I think because people see themselves as expats and not immigrants, and they're not expats. They are. Even if you're here for a limited time, you're not living an expat lifestyle. Like, I know expats, their companies pay for them to come here. They pay for their kids' school. They pay for them to feel like they're not in a foreign country.
Yes.
That's an expat. If you're here and you're working a job for a Korean and you have to navigate the Korean system, you're not an expat. Okay? So But I feel like people thought that they are only here temporarily, but they end up staying here for longer than they thought. So we need to have a safety network. We need to have a community center. We need to have a space for each other. Like, I would really, my dream and vision, I do want to inspire other people and want them to come help out. But I would like to have a physical place where if someone they do get kicked out of their apartment or something, there is a space for them to come sleep, especially for women with kids here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone knows how many foreign women are here that have a child and they're single mothers here raising a kid. And I don't care what job you have, but that's hard. That's so expensive.
Yeah, being a single mom is hard.
And there's a lot of them here.
In a foreign country.
In a foreign country. And some of them are trying to go to school and they're trying to better themselves. And that's why I'm also about more of direct giving than going to a huge nonprofit, because there's so much overhead. And lots of that money gets lost in the overhead. Where I'm like, everything that comes to me, I send it back out.
Yeah.
It has to go back out to them. So I encourage people, come out. Come, if you have anything extra, spare food, if you have any spare change, make a change. Everything that comes in goes right back out to people in the community. And people, the majority of the families that we help out are single mother families. The majority of them are either African or Southeast Asian. I do get some teachers sometimes because the teacher salaries right now have not risen. Like, they're lower than when I first got here. So I don't understand how some teachers are surviving with some of the money that they're paying them. I don't understand how you can live on 2.1 and they're taking taxes out and you're working 9 to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
So,
and then once again, lots of hot ones went out of business during COVID, or they lost students, or if there's a COVID scared their school, parents take students out. There's not enough students. They get fired, they don't get paid, don't have money, and they're dependent on their employer for housing, and so that also gets messed up. So I'm like, not only are you looking for a job, you don't have a place to live, and now you don't have money coming in because there's still hot ones that don't pay their teachers sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you surviving in Korea?
Yeah.
So I just want to.
Quite difficult. So tell me, how can people follow you and stay up to date with everything you're doing through the Foreign and Immigrant Virtual Community Center?
So they can join the group on Facebook, and when you do, please answer the questions. Because I don't want any trolls in the group. Everyone knows how the expat community is on Facebook. I try to keep it. I don't want people in there like that. So please answer the questions so I can gauge how you are. And also, I want people who are in Korea. I don't know why people who aren't in Korea like joining these Korean groups. Please don't do that. This is for people who are living in Korea so we can help each other out. You can do that. I also do the Expat and Immigrant Women in Korea group as well. Please join that. I also try to keep that a very safe place. I don't like, I think people should police themselves. I don't have a whole list of rules that these other groups have because I think that makes more trouble than it is. Just if I see something that is inappropriate or wrong, then yeah, you're out. But otherwise, people should be able to, we're a community. We should be able to, once again, police ourselves. There doesn't have to be over-policing or people tattling on each other about stupid things.
Yeah.
But if you are wrong, I'll let you know. And anything else? Usually it's the third or last weekend, last Sunday of the month at the Hidden Cellar. There's a food drive in Haemongchong in Seoul. You can also, like I said, drop off food down at JJ Center in Pyeongtaek. And join the group, join the Facebook group, the Foreign and Immigrant Virtual Community Center in Korea.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for all the information and your time for this interview. But one last thing I do want to talk about. You mentioned earlier your Etsy shop. I discovered you had an Etsy shop where you are making jewelry.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
So
the earrings you're wearing now, did you make those?
Yes, I make these.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
So the other things I do, I do wear multiple hats. I do admin and moderate several Facebook groups. Oh, also the Facebook group Black in Korea. Join that as well. We also have SoCo Soul.
Yes.
that's also a Black group in Korea. So I admin and moderate those two groups as well. I also put a lot of information up in those groups too. But yeah, so I make my own jewelry and I sell online through Etsy, or I host like flea markets or online markets. And what's important to me is, especially for the markets, unfortunately, the main expat markets I found when I was doing them, I was usually the only person of color. Mm-hmm. So I felt like sometimes I feel like they gatekeep or they don't really reach out to people of color. Mm-hmm. So in my markets, if you notice, there's a lot more vendors that are POC, whether they be Black, Southeast Asian, Middle Eastern, they're there. Mm-hmm. But whereas in the other markets, they're not really there, they're not really represented. And also, once again, that helps our community. We need more money in our community. We don't have any power because we don't have any money. Mm-hmm. If we had more money, then maybe we could influence the Korean government more and change the laws and the rules. Yeah. But because they see us as such a transient population and we just have bars and they think we just like to get drunk and party, they don't take us seriously. But if we can start stuff and have more money in our community and can influence things, then that's when we can make a change. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but we live in a capitalist country. Korea is a capitalist country. Money is power. If they don't think you have any money, we have no power. So we need to keep this money, keep money circulating in our community so we can build our power base and actually change things.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time once again. I really appreciate it. And what is the name of your Etsy shop?
My Etsy shop is Yogyo Accessories.
Yogyo Accessories. Yes. Okay.
Oh, and right now we're doing an online market for Women's History Month, and it's featuring all women entrepreneurs or creatives here in Korea. And I also wanted to just promote some other great Facebook groups. If you're Black in Korea, there's Black Creatives of Korea. You should join that group. Black in Korea, Soko Seoul, Brothers and Sisters of South Korea, BSSK. There's also Black women in Korea. Join these groups. They're a great source of information. Oh, I'm sorry. Also, Camp Humphreys, Natural Beauty.
Yes,
if you're looking for hair,
put them all there. We
hair care.
Tag all of these.
So, also, I think there's Camp Humphreys POC, which is like businesses that are run by people of color in Korea or around Camp Humphreys, and they're another excellent source. But definitely, information is currency, and I encourage Black people in Korea, please start coming out more. People don't think we exist because we don't come out. And I'll even see on the boards, they're like, well, there's not that many Black people. I'm like, yeah, we are here. We just don't come out because some of the expat mainstream feels like an unsafe place to us. But it's going to continue to feel unsafe if we don't come out here. We have to show that we are here and we are a force. Mm-hmm. So, and we can do stuff and make changes. So, and that's another reason why I want to do this food program, and I want to sometimes meet people because I want to show them, you know who's helping you? A Black woman, and don't forget it.
God bless Black women.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Lindsay. It was such a pleasure to interview you, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Definitely, so informative, and I look forward to following your groups and everything that you're doing.
Thank you very much. Please, anytime, and if you want to interview more people who I know are doing something in the community, just let me know. I'll pass on their name to you. So,
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. Until next time. Bye.